All right, we good. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Sawyer.
Good morning, Dr. Heath. How are you?
I'm good. I'm with the living. So I guess
the living is good. The living is always good.
So, this section is dedicated to the parents. If you're watching, if not, we're going to send this video out. Just want to talk about what we do here on campus and how can we help these first generation students in your opinion? So what's your role here on campus?
So I am the director of the Office of New Student and Family Programs. So our office is dedicated to the onboarding process for all first year and transfer students. So everybody coming into NCCU for their first year, they come through our orientation program known as SOAR. Then once they go through the orientation program throughout the year, we also have some programs dedicated to them to make sure that they stay abreast of kind of what's going on. Because we don't want to just, have your hand in and you know what, we're done. We we want to try to guide you through that first year. And also in the Office of New Student and Family Programs, we have our Parent and Family Association. So then that's dedicated to letting our parents know you also have a space here. You have the opportunity to be able to connect with your student through their time here because they are part of the village. We can't just do this by ourselves.
That first gen, I think that parent association is one of the most important pieces to this puzzle. And if you're a first gen parent out here today, I want you to join because this journey is for everybody, right?
It is.
They come to you, you give them the steps, but parents, we need you to learn those steps too, because when they're not away, when they come home, or you can call them and say, well, I hear they got all these events going on. Why are you not engaged? So when they know you're engaged, they can't just say, oh, ain't nothing going on today, I'm bored. And so I think that's one of the keys. For me, just working for the Men's Achievement Center, Central is about 72, 73% women.
It is.
We didn't turn to Baby Bennett, right? NCCU Bennett, right? And that's a bit of a thing. The ladies will get educated, but I'm like, fellas, y'all got to meet these ladies where they at, right? You hear, you coming in, you're not going to college. Not saying if you don't go to college, you can't make it. But we're saying it's going to be harder. Relationship building, we got to bridge the gap.
Bridge the gap,
so
absolutely.
My job is to try to make sure we have, educated men. And it's a tall task because with all the social media, everybody has the microphone.
Everybody does. That is very true.
Everybody got the mic. So I'm competing with Bitcoin. I'm competing with go get a trade now. College ain't real. You can be a rapper. All this stuff. And so I have to swim through all this mess and to get the young men to understand that, okay, you're not an athlete. You're not 6'5".
Right.
You're not going to the league. That's okay.
What's going to be your journey?
What's going to be your journey? What's going to be next? And it's even for first gen, it's even harder because they come in already not knowing what to expect from college and then imposter syndrome. And so just trying to do that, But I realize that the center is important because I get a lot of stragglers, like guys that just came to college and they see us and they're like, how can I be a part of this? And those are some of my most dedicated young men.
Absolutely.
Right? The ones I find
that you find
in the dining hall or somewhere. I can get them to show up to anything. So I'd ask you, so in this job, dealing with first gen, what is one of the hardest things that you see in your space?
I think it's the fear of the unknown. The fear of the unknown. So you're coming to a different world, because that's what college is, right? It is a different world. And not knowing how to navigate, sometimes it brings you to that shell. So because you're afraid, because you don't know, you don't want to ask. You're afraid to ask. You don't know who to reach out to. You don't know. You don't know. So you know what? I'm just going to sit here. I'm not going to say anything. As opposed to going to someone like yourself, going to me, going to someone who can help you navigate this space. But you sit there in fear because maybe you feel embarrassed because you are that first gen and you may be surrounded by other individuals who are not first gen. So you're like, they don't understand me. So I don't want to seem like the oddball out.
I know that's right. I remember when I first came, I came to Central. I had started school. I was a sports guy. I went to Livingstone first.
Okay, yeah.
And I didn't do well there. Flunked out, let's just tell the truth. Because I ain't had nobody. So I came to Central with 2 bags, right? And 1 pair of shoes. And so I wouldn't go to class some days. I'm like, well, they didn't see this outfit.
They didn't see, okay.
But honestly, that was just a barrier.
Yeah.
I could do the work. But once I got out here and really met people and, I can do work study, make me 200, 300 money.
Yeah,
and then my self-esteem went up, start being able to shop and nothing fancy, but just being able to get washing powders and things like that. And so as first gen, I didn't want to ask because I was embarrassed. So our jobs are just to remove the barriers. And so with COVID, it's been hard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think one of the hardest things I've seen this year for me, for these young men, they've learned to isolate themselves now. Meaning they don't really need friends, and they think they don't. So they've been able to just isolate themselves into the gaming, into the esports, into this virtual world, and forget about it's a real world going on.
But Dr. Heath, it's not just first. Like our students are isolated right now because they've been in this pandemic. So many, and so it puts another barrier to our first gen students, to our students overall, because they have been in isolated space for so long. And so for our first gen students coming in, it's still scary. It's still a scary space. It's still a scary situation, and trying to navigate it. What do I do? Coming back into trying to get the socialization back, and
everything got to be safe.
Everything got to be safe.
Put your sanitizer on. I don't know how I would be right now in this space right here.
You're not by yourself on that one.
I always look. That's why I look at the kids and students, and say students, these young adults, and I can't blame them. I can blame them if they don't fight through it. Like even though there's a situation, fight through it. I can blame you for not. And I was at a training with this young lady, and she said something that stuck with me. She first gen as well, and I was like, "How do you survive?" She said, "I located my lifeguards. Excuse us, swine. It's a fruit fly in here."
And we just swine. Please forgive me.
This fruit fly killer. So she said, what I did was I found my lifeguards, and my lifeguards kept me swimming. She said, I found my mother, my friends. I said, can I use that? She's like, you can have it. So she would just tell us students, find your lifeguards. When you're about to drown, that friend is going to sit on the phone with you at 1 a.m, or that friend is going to say, let's go to the library. I know you're struggling. Let me proofread your paper. Right when you was about to quit, she said, I found my lifeguards.
Somebody. That's good.
And that stayed with me. So I think with these students now, the technology has been their lifeguard. Lord.
It is. It is. I tell you. Oh my goodness.
We for the country.
We are used to this.
Got a water bag down here. But I mean, finding your lifeguards. If you was a student, who would be your lifeguards right now? Even in your life now.
Oh, I have to admit, like the young lady you were saying, it would have to be my parents as well. Because that has always been a source and a source of strength for me, a source of comfort. And so being able to go to my parents, as well as I do have some really solid friends, and having that connection for me has been, it is a lifeguard for me. It is a lifeguard. And I know for our students, you have to have at least one person. Like you have to. There is no, even though your mind, you may say, well, I can do this by myself, or you cannot do this by yourself. And I think that could be so hard for some of our first gen students because they may come from spaces that, you know what, I've had to do this by myself. So I can do what I can do and I'm gonna figure it out. But you have to have that help. You need that help because you can't do it by yourself.
Because that wall can't talk back to you.
Yes,
you need to sit on that bed. You're looking at the walls. He said, my mind playing tricks on me. That was a song back in the day. That's my era. Hey, so I tell my students, what I really found out, we have, pre-COVID, we were having these circles, and they would call, brother, you're not Superman. And in that circle, we would say, what was your kryptonite for the week? Right? You know, Superman has his weaknesses, kryptonite. And so some of them say, I partied too much, hung out, had girls, I was doing this. So I was smoking this week, and I don't usually do that. So I think as first gen, we have to build this culture of them, letting them know that you're not a superhero. You got weaknesses. And that's what these offices are for. Right when you're about to fall, you're going to go. And so for me, even in college, I think my lifeguards, me and my friends, we're still friends, all the young men. I haven't seen my homeboy in a while. That's how I know how the world works. He's married. You know, you get married, you lose touch. We were roommates in college, and we stayed together off campus. He in the grad program right now. Down the hall, we get his master's. And when he walked in, I hadn't seen him in a while. I was like, wow. And he was first gen too. But now he's getting his master's, so he's still working. So, you know, I don't know. It's hard. So what would you tell parents just struggling, like my baby about to go to college? What would you tell them?
It's so much, Dr. Heath, to be able to say to a parent, right? First, it's okay. Breathe. I think that would be my first piece, because I know parents are coming in with a lot of anxiety. They coming in with that, my baby about to leave, you know, my baby about to leave. They're scared.
Helicopter parents.
Exactly. You know, we have the parents, and I tell my parents during orientation, we have this range of parents, right? So like I said, we got the parent that's like, my baby about to leave. I can't, I don't know what to do. We got the parent that's like, okay, you leaving. Cool, I'm here. We got a parent that's like,
deuces,
I'm out. So we have this, just a variety of different types of parents that we encounter during orientation. But for them all, breathe. Breathe. You and your student have made a fantastic decision to enter into college. So you've taken the first step. Despite all the obstacles, filling out FAFSA, you know, trying to figure out what you're going to do for residential life and all of these things, you've made the first step and you've made it to school. So breathe. Secondly, now that you are here, figure out who those, like you were talking about, different departments are that you can always have your student fall back to. You know what? Why did you meet Dr. Sawyer orientation? Didn't you meet the representative from financial aid? Call them. You know, what's going on? If you're struggling, they were talking about tutoring. You know, don't sit in your class. Have you spoken to your professors? You heard about that. You know, have that conversation and connection with your students so that you can continue to be involved as well. Because unfortunately, parents, you know, once your student is here, we can't give you just all your information. You do gotta have that purple form. So we can't, even if you call, you know, I know my baby's social security number. Well, ma'am, sir, we are so glad that you do. But we cannot give you that information. I'm sorry, we can't. And so having that connection with your student, I think really, really helps to keep you at ease, to keep your student at ease, and really keep that connection, because that's what's going to be key as they continue to matriculate. What about you? What you think?
I think you said a lot. You hit it on the head. I mean, you deal with parents the most, you know, because they bringing them to that weekend. I think what you do in that parent committee, parents who would love, I just think there should be a parent academy on this campus where, you know, they can get certified. They need to be in the know as well. And then, and parents sometimes, the first generation, you ever thought about it? Come join the Eagle family. We have online programs.
Come on.
Go through this process with your child. With your student, and then y'all do this together, because, you know, education doesn't have age limit. It doesn't. You know I was in the grad school. I had a lady in my program. She was 65, but she had a dream of finishing her doctorate degree. And when she finished last year. Oh, that's good. She's like, this has always been a dream of mine, but education, she put her mind to it. So just come and do it. Come and join the Eagle family. We're here. It's a Saturday morning for us, but you know, I woke up at 5 a.m. looking forward to give this message to y'all. And so I'll say this before we end, is that today is the day to make the first step. Come on in. Today. Dr. Sawyer, she's going to be here for you.
Dr. Heath's going to be here for you.
Yeah, she's going to be here. We're going to swat flies. We'll sit out in the sun. We're here.
We are.
You know, we move in, sweat, blood, sweat,
Yeah.
tears. We do this for the students. And so, if you want to reach me, my email is rheath1@nccu.edu.
Georgia Sawyer, that is gsawyer@nccu.edu.
And yes, and this recording will email it out to the families of all the students who attended this conference today. And just thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time.
Thank you.
All right.
It's been a pleasure.
All right.
Hope to see you. Bye-bye.